partly by a domestic perspective. So whether it's our politicians being responsive to their constituents back home, or your politicians being responsive to Pakistanis and their constituents. That's just the way politics work, especially in a democracy. So there is this compromising going on.
Will it be correct to characterize that as a country director, as a mission head, you have to do firefighting on both sides? You have to do firefighting in Islamabad, you have to do firefighting in Washington.
I think a better way to put it is we've got to do a better job educating.
On both sides?
Both sides. And show them the good work that we're doing. And it's not just the good work that USAID is doing. Our work is done by Pakistani partners. Our staff, by the way, we have an outstanding staff. Most of them are Pakistani. They're senior professionals. They're experts. They're medical doctors. They're public health experts. They're civil engineers, electrical engineers, power engineers, irrigation experts. We have outstanding staff who are really dedicated Pakistani patriots. Those people do outstanding work. But our implementation on the ground is done by organizations like WAPTA, Frontier Works Organization, or private Pakistani construction firms building schools in the Malakand or in Azad Jammu Kashmir. Those are the people doing the work. And our job is to make agreement with government or local authorities on what the priorities are, what the design is, and then let Pakistanis execute the project, and then we monitor. We monitor to make sure that it's high-quality work, that it's meeting high-quality standards, that we minimize and ideally avoid all corruption. But Pakistanis should be proud, but we are proud.
How do you do the due diligence that the money is given in the name of Pakistani people, right? I mean, this $1.5 billion is the Gary Kabul being administered by USAID is given to Pakistan. It's a big political decision. The policymakers talk about it. But when you make the decisions of $40 million here and $20 million there, I mean, how do you do the due diligence? I mean, this is the right way or the right avenue, the right subject.
Okay, first we begin with the discussion of what are the priorities. So, if energy is the top priority, then we'll talk with key organizations in the electric power sector to identify priorities. But before we put $1 rupee or dollar onto the budget of WAPTA, we've done a very careful assessment of that institution's systems, whether it's finance and accountability, how they do procurement. We insist that any U.S. taxpayer dollar be well spent and it be accounted for. If there's corruption, I face a lot of heat from home. So we try to put in place a very careful assessment process. And by the way, those assessments are done by top-rated Pakistani accounting firms and engineering firms.
Is USAID facing lots of music because of Sesame Street now?
I knew you were going to ask that. We are. It's been big news here. It's been in the media in the United States. First of all, let me just say it's a shame. It is not the crime of the century, but it is a shame because the actual program is brilliant. It's extremely creative.
What was the idea? What was the idea of $20 million to a puppet show?
It's $20 million to provide education, literacy and numeracy, and actually an appreciation for the rich tapestry of cultural diversity of Pakistan and tolerance, and bring that into Pakistani homes. And even, especially the kids who it isn't easy for them to get to school. And we know through different surveys that Sesame Street or Simsim Hamar has been viewed by 30 million Pakistanis. It's a good program. In fact, Pakistan TV is the broadcast.
It was reaching to 30 million, or it had reached 30 million?
30 million.
It has reached 30 million as an absolute figure, or it was reaching to 30 million? It's two different things. I mean, if you reach day after day to 30 million is one thing, and in total, if say in 2 months it's reached 3 million, 30 million, that's a different thing.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer. Okay. At a minimum, it's been viewed.
I'm a media person, that's why I'm intrigued.
So it's getting great reviews.
So what went wrong?
So what went wrong is, as I said, we do assessments. We're careful where we put our money. We put in place systems to minimize risks. But sometimes, despite that, bad things happen. So then how do we catch mistakes? Well, one is USAID staff. We travel, we visit projects. So if we see that a school is being built and it's being badly built, we'll tell the contractor to fix it. But we also have a transparency hotline. Transparency International is a Pakistani NGO based in Karachi. And we've established with them a hotline where any Pakistani citizen can make an anonymous complaint.
This is how you found out?
Yes. So they can phone, or they can send an email, they can send a letter, and it can be anonymous. And they say, we believe that such and such a program, there's corruption. So somebody contacted this hotline, and that's how we found out. And because of the seriousness of the complaint, and it looked legitimate, we called in the USAID Office of Inspector General to investigate. They've done a very thorough investigation. In fact, it's still underway, Moeed. But the preliminary findings are serious enough that we had to take action and terminate the program.
But this company is actually saying that the project was ending anyway. It was about to end in August or September. That's not true.
It wasn't yet certain. We were pleased with how the program was going. As I mentioned, the quality of the program and the creativity is very impressive. The program was to be funded in 2 tranches, 10 million and 10 million. The first 10 million we have, and approximately 2/3 of that's been dispersed. We were hoping to go back and get the second tranche of the second $10 million. And if we had been successful, we would have continued the program into the future.
Sometimes it's not the corruption, but just the focus on one particular issue or one particular NGO. Like, lots of people talk that $40 million have been assigned to Oral Foundation. Just one group.
But Oral Foundation is making grants with our money to many, many other Pakistani NGOs.
And you monitor? Very closely.
Our staff monitor. We also hire Pakistani firms to assist us.
So you know the various streams of disbursement, they're traveling beyond Oral Foundation, and you can monitor them as to where the money is going.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Not only disbursements, but activities on the ground.
So how do you assess the impact, the worth, finally?
Well, what we
happened? You give $10 million and...
Before we make any disbursements, before we sign any agreements, we design the program in collaboration with the Pakistani organization. And we set objectives, and we set targets, and we describe and agree how they're going to do it. So, for instance, we've made we're doing a program with the Ministry of Education of Sindh Province. It's a large program, and in that program, we're going to finance the construction of 200 large schools. But we've also set targets for teacher training, for community mobilization, for management. So we've set targets together. Often they may propose the targets and we may negotiate and eventually we'll agree. So we know what we want to achieve. That's our bottom line. Our bottom line isn't how much dollars did we spend. That's the means towards the objective.
Outcome.
The outcome, the result is, how is this helping the people of Pakistan? Are more kids in school? Our objective for basic education is 3.2 million Pakistani children learning to read at their grade level. We have ways to monitor that, to measure it.
Recently you started doing something very different, totally new, advertisements.
Yes.
Why?
We found through surveys as well as just personal encounters that there's been low awareness of what USAID is doing in Pakistan, with exceptions. During an earthquake or the flood, there's very high awareness. But our longer-term investments in education, energy, health, low awareness. And I would meet people and say, well, USAID isn't doing anything in Pakistan. And I say, well, in fact, I've just spent some time in your district, and these are the 5 projects we've done in your district. I said, oh, I didn't know that.